So I'm here in front of Holy Angels Roman Catholic Church in Toronto to talk about the human-earth relationships. In 1967, cultural historian Lynn White Jr. made a monumental essay entitled the Historical Roots of the Ecological Crisis. In this essay, he argued that Christianity was the most anthropocentric religion in the world. And he cited the Bible itself, elements from the Bible to subdue the earth, for humans to have dominion over earth as examples of this, and even cited St. Francis as a positive element. The reaction was huge. From the Christian community, there was, as noted in For Earth's Sake by Stephen Sharper, the Christian community, first part of it said sort of an apologetic. It's not really true. He got it all wrong. We're okay. The larger response was more constructive. Here they recognize, we have done some bad things with the relationship with the earth. But really, if you look deep and look well, you'll find a lot of fruits. There's thinking from stewardship, the idea that humans are to be good stewards of the earth, as one of them. Some popes in the past were still talking about earth, like John Paul II, humans being masters of creation. But the present Pope, Pope Francis, has taken an extremely different turn, and he talks about earth as Mother Earth, unprecedented, and that he recognizes the full weight of human destruction of the earth, and he even looks at the cry of the earth as well as the cry of the poor. A very constructive response. But yet the third response to such sort of problems comes from what Sharper calls the listening approach, and of course he cites Thomas Berry as really indicative of this approach. Thomas Berry says we have to listen to science. We have to listen to the other religions, and he puts a lot of emphasis on the indigenous traditions. In fact, Berry suggests that the salvation of Christianity lies in the unassimilated aspects of paganism. Now he says paganism, but he's referring to, in Christian parlance, as those religions other than the Christianity. In this case, he truly means the indigenous peoples. And at one point he even says, and let me quote here, he says, "We've lost the primordial capacity for language at the elementary level of song and dance, where we share the existence with all other animals and with the natural phenomena. We've lost that language. So it's a way of knowing the world." And does that sound familiar? Do you remember what Leopold was saying? Listen to the mountain. Well, he's saying listen to the trees, listen to the water. They'll tell you what to do. And he's speaking out of the indigenous tradition when he talks about that. He, in fact, sees the difference of the human, not as Lynn White Jr. would say, in a strong anthropocentric way, but more of quantitative, not qualitative difference. What does that mean? I mean, humans are different, but not better. A human is different and ought to be treated differently in the human way than a peregrine falcon, for example. Let's go to the final chapter in For Earth's Sake when Stephen Sharper talks about anthropoharmonism. And he says at one point, and I find this a very, very important quote in the whole book, in fact. He says we can make ourselves more knowledgeable, change laws, add the best new policies, the most fangled-dangled technology, but none of this will take hold until we change our relationship with creation. Now enter Yeah, what Deborah McGregor was saying, and you'll see that in the interview I had with her. She talks about a, a total different way of understanding our relationship with the rest of creation, the rest of Earth, right from the animals to water. And she uses the macaroon example. You can't distinguish, as opposed to the M&M. You can't separate the human from the natural world. But then she said that the relationship is much different. It's not like we have rights to water. It's more like we have obligations and duties. We have responsibilities, and it goes both ways. It's reciprocal. The water has a job to do. It has a duty to take care of life, to provide life, and we cannot interrupt that. We must not interrupt that, and it's a huge, very different way of thinking. It's much more in tune with what Barry says when Barry says the earth is a commune of subjects, not a collection of objects to be used. It's not surprising then that Stephen Sharper ends the whole book really, but the chapter on anthropocentrism, when he himself speaks to look into the indigenous people's lifeways as a way for us to learn how to have a different relationship with creation.